Welcome back. Rob Port sitting in for Mike Capel here on WDAY, having a good time. This Monday morning, supposedly one of the most depressing days of the year. No joke. Coming up next, my guest, Representative Roscoe Streyle, thinks that special places, the land designations being considered by the State Industrial Commission, could impede development in North Dakota. Here's he had a letter to the editor in several publications across the state. It's also on sayanythingblog.com if you want to check it out. Let me read a quote for it. He says, I quote, "For decades in North Dakota, an oil well site has been a beautiful sight to see. These sites represent so many good things: prosperity, growth, jobs, and America's leap forward to become energy independent. The proposed rule changes are a direct attack against the free market capitalist system and are very anti-oil development. North Dakota still is a great place to do business, but these type of proposals are moving us in the right direction." Representative Streyle, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Rob.
Roscoe is a state legislator. He represents a district in the Minot area in the state house. And Roscoe, tell us what you mean when you say that this is a direct attack against the free market capitalist system.
Well, thanks for having me on, Rob, and hope you're having a good morning. I'm not too crabby this morning if it's one of the worst days of the year, as you say. But well, I just think we've got plenty of regulation. They go through plenty of through the permitting process. There's a bunch of hoops that they already have to jump through. Why do we need to add these 20-odd sites? What makes them so special? Yeah, some of them are special, granted, but what makes them more special than something else? And my fear is we put this in place, within 6 months or a year, you add another dozen to this list, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And by the time you know it, you have dozens upon dozens impeding development. And what about the mineral owners' rights? To me, it's a private property rights issue as well.
I want to be clear. I invited Attorney General Wayne Stenstrom on the program. He is the guy who's been sort of the mastermind behind this. Of course, one member of the State Industrial Commission, which also includes Governor Jack Dalrymple and Ag Commissioner Doug Goring. And I invited him on. He said that this is not a finalized plan yet, so he doesn't want to come on and talk about it till it is finalized, and it's something a finalized proposal, and it's something that he could speak to. So we did invite him on the program. What exactly are they wanting to do, Roscoe, that you object to specifically?
Well, there's various ones. There's up to a 2 mile. Some have a 2 mile buffer zone, some a half a mile. Depends on the site. The lake, for example, is another one. And what they would do, it doesn't mean they can't develop in these. It just, there's a bunch more steps they would have to go through, more study. They'd have to let different agencies know, the Historical Society, Parks and Rec, Land Trust, U.S. Fish and Wildlife. Why in the heck we'd want to do anything with those people? So, I mean, there's a bunch of different things they would do. This would dramatically, in my mind, in reading this, slow the permitting process down. Already on federal lands, it's 2 or 3 times the length or more to get permits from the federal government. We don't want to be the federal government. Granted, it's 20-some-odd sites, but like I said, I think this will only expand. And to me, a windmill is a heck of a lot more disruptive to the landscape than an oil well. I can't stand the look of a windmill. I think an oil rig is, like I said before, a beautiful sight.
Let me, you're not alone in your opposition to this. One of your legislative colleagues, State Senator Kelly Armstrong, wrote what frankly is a blistering letter, I think, to the State Industrial Commission. And he was suggesting that they don't have the authority to do this. Let me read an excerpt from his letter. He says, "Often in North Dakota, we condemn regulatory overreach from federal agencies. Indeed, I have listened as members of this commission have given speeches railing against the overbearing tactics of the EPA and the U.S. Forest Service. However, it appears by the creation of this rule, we are saying that regulatory overreach is fine as long as it is a North Dakota regulatory agency initiating the rule." He's basically saying he's questioning whether or not the State Industrial Commission even has the mandate to do this. Do you agree with him?
I 100% agree with him. I think that's just an absolutely fabulous letter. Well written, of course, like only Kelly could do. I think he's spot on. I mean, where is the authority? I guess I don't see it in code. To me, it's more of a general authority, not a specific authority. And if they do have it, I mean, I think we should request an attorney general opinion or something. But then who are you going to go around, because the attorney general sits on the commission. But to me, I don't think they have the authority, and I think his letter couldn't have been any more spot on. And he knows the industry. He's an attorney. To me, I think if they think they do, or if they actually do have the authority, I think the legislature needs to step up and start taking some authority back, because to place that kind of power in basically two, because you only need 2 votes, hands, to me is a little bit much.
If you want to join the program, 701-293-9000, 888-970-9329. What do you think of these special places, designations? Let me play devil's advocate for a moment here, Roscoe. Some are probably out there saying, why not? I mean, we all agree that there are places in western North Dakota that have significant, historical, geographical, properties, and we should want to protect these areas. I mean, I think that's something everybody agrees on. So what is so unreasonable about saying these are some of the special places, that we believe need an additional level of scrutiny? What's unreasonable about that?
Well, like I indicated before, I mean, there is stuff already done during the permitting process to look at the impacts, for example, of the well, and they certainly try to put these well pads in the best spot for everybody. They don't just plop them in the middle of a field. I mean, it's not fair to the surface owner. The road issues, I mean, they're coordinating and trying to find the best spot they can already. And now to say, noise and traffic mitigation, pipeline concerns, I mean, they've got to put a bunch more study into drilling in this window, this 2-mile window, let's say. To me, I just don't think maybe nothing will happen if these come into play. I mean, I think it does, because there's a lot of oil in those areas that they're playing in. They're planning hopefully not to implement this rule, but if they do, I mean, I don't know what the percentage would be of all oil in North Dakota, but it would be a good chunk of the oil lands in these specific regions. So I think it's an overreach, and I don't know any regulation that gets less restrictive. So if they'd put these in, like I said, I think it'll just keep growing and growing. And like at the permitting process, not maybe a couple weeks ago,
have a call. His name is Doug.
To putting the well pad there because it was his favorite hunting spot. I mean, so this is only going to grow, and to me, I mean, that would be ridiculous if we would say, no, we're not going to permit a well because the guy likes to hunt there. I mean, I like to hunt too, but it's not that shouldn't be consideration in my mind for a mineral owner's right to develop their minerals.
We've got a caller on the line. Doug, what's on your mind? You're on with Representative Roscoe Streyle.
Yeah, I was looking at your list there that you had on your blog there, Rob.
Yes.
And it says school lands. Is that like the school sections? What makes them any more special than anywhere else in that township?
Maybe Representative Streyle, could you speak to that?
I'm not 100% sure on that, but if that is in there, I don't remember reading a specific school
North Dakota
section.
State school lands, including those in this category and already subject to stipulations.
Yeah, I mean, if that's part of the proposal, I couldn't agree more. I don't. There's nothing special about a certain just because the school land trust owns the land. To me, you'd want those developed because we're not building schools on that section of land anymore. I mean, that
we haven't
in my
done that
mind,
since like 1915.
Yeah, exactly. So in my mind, that land honestly should be sold.
And then it's got badlands like the White Butte, Chalky Buttes, Black Butte, Square Butte. Those are owned by ranchers, and they've got.
Have another caller, Corey.
Exactly.
What in case of the Chalky Buttes, there's been radio antennas on top of that since the 50s.
Yep, and you're making a really good point.
This is mind blowing.
Yeah, I agree. You're making a really good point on why is an oil well now this hazard to people's eyes, whereas a wind tower, a grain bin, for God's sake. I mean, look at, I love grain bins have been part of the landscape for 100 years or more. So do they move to grain bins? Do they move to windmills? Do they move to cell phone towers? Farmsteads?
Oh my gosh, there's, I like hunting down there, but jeepers, there's a farmstead down there. Let's get it moved.
Yeah. Doug, thanks for the call. That was an issue that Ag Commissioner Doug Goring, Corey, we have another call from Corey, and we'll get to him in just a moment. But I want to ask you this. Ag Commissioner Doug Goring also seems to oppose this. He's made comments critical of it. And he pointed out that a large portion of land along the Little Missouri River, which is one of the special places being considered, is privately owned. And he says, I quote, I have a great deal of concern about the Little Missouri. And I think what he's saying is that here you have private property owners. Do they have legal standing to object to this, saying, how can you come in and put additional regulatory burden on my land just because?
Yep, and he's spot on. I mean, it's taking these special little snippets of property, or in some cases large swaths of property, and saying that, well, we as the Industrial Commission, granted they haven't passed it, and like I said, I hope they don't, but we think they're better than the one right next door. Well, everybody thinks their property is special, so why is one or two people, we shouldn't give them the authority to say what is special and what isn't. To me, it's just a gross overreach.
Let's go to the calls again. Corey, welcome to the program. What's on your mind?
Hey, guys. To play a little devil's advocate, because I completely agree that we should not do this for many reasons, among others, that we don't put this power in just a few people's hands to decide which property is special or not. But to be on a little bit devil's advocate argument here, what if they instituted with this that the financial burden or the compensation for designating special places fell on either the state or someone opposing the development in these areas instead? If that would reduce the likelihood that they would be designated special places then, and that if it was truly a special place, then it would be worth it, but then the landowners would be somehow potentially still compensated.
I guess I would have a concern if we were to be compensating that with taxpayers.
Oh, I would too.
Australia, your fault or your thoughts?
Yeah, I would too. I kind of understand what you're saying here, and the Heritage Fund is set up not to specifically buy land or take it out of production or whatnot, but it's set up to leave some land for the next generation for hunting reasons. And if you look at the list, there's some silly things on there they approved, but it could have been a lot worse, I think, the last go around. And I did oppose that as well, even though I'm an avid hunter. I don't know. I mean, I just think it's dangerous to go down this road. We're very well regulated right now. We've added dozens upon dozens of rules. Granted, some of them are very, very good and needed. The regulating gathering lines, only state in the nation to do that, I think is silly. One of the highest tax rates in the nation at 11.5%, I think is too high. We're not the only oil play in the U.S. or the world. Like I said, the Eagle Ford Shale is huge in Texas. More drilling rigs, much cheaper to drill there, more staff or employees available down there, housing issues. I mean, we do have some negatives and we have some challenges. So why are we going to put more burden on the development of our own natural resources? We should want to exploit them as quickly and as most efficiently as we can.
Corey, thanks for the call. Representative Streyle, last question. Can the Industrial Commission do this on their own? You talked about possibly getting an AG's opinion. That's a little hard to do when the AG is the guy pushing this. How do you, what recourse does the legislature have if the State Industrial Commission pushes forward with this, and which is in your estimation and the estimation of others, at least one other state senator, Kelly Armstrong, is beyond the State Industrial Commission's mandate?
That's something we got to look at with council, our legislative council, and see. We really don't know. I don't know if Senator Armstrong knows how we would stop this. I mean, I'm sure we could come into session in 2015, pass some laws to not allow it, but by that time it's going to more than likely would have already taken place. So there's really not much we can do in the interim, honestly, that I can see. But I just hope that the governor, I'm guessing the Ag Commissioner is going to vote against it, hopefully, from the way his tone is. Hopefully the governor just says it's not the right time and votes it down. And if they want something like this, bring a proposal to the legislature. Let's have an open discussion. Let's have a hearing on it. Let the legislature vote. And if they pass it, they pass it. I'm fine with it then. But for the Industrial Commission to do it, I think is just flat out wrong.
Roscoe, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. I'm Rob Port, sitting in for Mike Capel. We'll be back right after this. Don't go away.